let's talk about tutorial hell. What is tutorial hell? Tutorial hell is the position people find themselves in when they're trying to learn a new skill like game development or programming or something like that. And the way that they're learning is watching tutorials on YouTube or following tutorials on Udemy or wherever it is. Um, and the problem with that is you often find that you want to find the perfect tutorial for whatever it is you're doing. So you're building a game, you look for a tutorial to import a sprite sheet. Okay, now you've got the sprite sheet imported. You look for a tutorial to help you with the player movement. Okay, that's great. Now it's a RPG style game, so you look for a video to show you how to make exactly that. And the problem is, it doesn't let you build those skills of thinking for yourself. Instead, you're just following along step by step by step. So that when you find a situation where you need to think for yourself, you haven't built up those skills. You don't know what to do and you're completely lost. Your first reaction will be go to YouTube. Is there a tutorial on how to do exactly what I'm trying to do? Now, there's a lot of tutorials out there for game dev, and they can be really, really useful. You can learn a lot from them. But the problem is, if you are just stuck in that loop, you're not going to be able to get out of it by doing the same thing over and over again, right? So you're not going to one day find the perfect tutorial and then all of a sudden you'll be completely confident and know how to do things yourself. So there's no way of really avoiding the pain of trying to work it out yourself. And I would recommend setting yourself the challenge of just trying to work it out. Like you're building a game, you're trying to import a sprite sheet, and I have a tutorial on how to do that in Pygame. But try work it out yourself, and then go to the tutorial after. Um, I think what I like to do with tutorials is watch them as entertainment. Um, I really like watching other people code. I find it really, really interesting to see like, oh, okay, they've approached it this way. This is how they've thought about it. Um, but it's a very, very different skill to being given a blank page, a blank screen in your IDE, and all of a sudden it's up to you. You need to work it out. So, okay, how do you get out of tutorial hell? Set yourself a challenge. Make it simple. Make it something really, really simple. Like I want to import a sprite into my game. Then start with the blank page, and anytime you get stuck, go to the documentation. Not a tutorial, but the actual source documentation for the framework for whatever it is you're working with. So say you're working with Pygame, go to the Pygame documentation here. It's good. It tells you everything that it does, right? So we want to import a sprite into our game. Look, here's um, a sprite module. Um, read up on what it does. Pygame sprite.sprite, a simple base class for visible game objects. Okay. Oh, look, here's an example of how it works. This is how we build um, a sprite object here in Pygame. Look at all of the functionality that it has. A sprite can be updated, it can be added, it can be removed, it can be killed, it can be alive, it can be part of groups. So and then look, here's the explanation of what all these things are. So you're not going to get this depth in a tutorial. You're going to get someone who knows what they're doing, and they're going to say, you use this, then you use this, then you use this. But without having gone through that pain of working out what do I do, reading through all of the documentation here to see like, okay, well, how does this work? Okay, here's the sprite class. It looks like this. You got to initialize it. Then you need to give it an image. You need to give it a rect. Without going through all of that and just waiting to be told what to do every step of the way. Next time it's on you and you're like, okay, put together a sprite. You're not going to know what to do. You're going to be like, oh, okay, where's a tutorial on this? And then fall back to that. So that's just one small example, but you can do this right from the start. You want to make a game in Pygame, go straight to the documentation, go through the quick start, totally fine. Okay, this will give you the base structure here. Maybe even set yourself a little challenge. Go through the quick start here once. Okay, now you know how to do it. Try something else. Have an idea where, okay, now I want to create a platformer. Instead of coming back here and doing this again, see how much you remember. Go back to the blank screen here. How do I start a Pygame game? Okay, I know I need to import Pygame. Okay, what do I do after that? How do I set up a window? Force yourself to think about these things. The more that you do it, the more familiar you'll get, especially with the same frameworks that you're using over and over again. The more that you've built in Pygame, the more it will kind of stick. But I really recommend just kind of forcing yourself to go through these things. It's going to make you a better programmer. It's going to make you a better thinker. It'll make you more capable to solve the different problems that you're going to encounter. Cut yourself some slack too. Game dev, programming, it's all difficult. So if you find like, I can't even remember how to write a hello world in Python or Golang or C or whatever it is, cut yourself some slack. It's totally fine. It's totally fine to look it up. It's totally fine to check references and things like that. But just keep on pushing yourself, and slowly, step by step, you'll get more and more capable. And then you'll find that you're thinking about these things less and less. And instead, you're thinking about, okay, what is the problem I'm trying to solve? How can I solve it? And you'll be surprised when you look back on how far you've come. I hope you find this useful. Subscribe if you're interested in these sort of conversations. I do have tutorials as well, so join, follow along. For my tutorials, I don't edit them that much. I trying to keep the same sort of philosophy of what I've just been talking about, where going to the documentation is part of writing software. It's part of learning to code and all of these things. So I leave that in there, and I think it's useful to follow along as part of a tutorial where you're not just being given all the answers all the time. I like to think that with my videos, you're learning with me, because I don't know how to do this stuff a lot of the time. So I'll go to the documentation and see, how do I do this? Right now, I'm trying to implement these sprites in here. So I've been reading through the documentation on what needs to be part of a sprite class and so on. I hope you find the tutorials useful. I hope you like that style. It's slow. It's not the same as a polished tutorial. But I hope that it can kind of go some way as to get you out of that tutorial hell and start to get you thinking about how do we solve problems instead. So thanks for watching. Catch you next time.